Crystal, if you can go ahead and put your screen back up. There we go.
Yeah.
Okay, good. So everybody, welcome to the call today. We've got Crystal Miller on the line, and we're going to have a good call today. It's called The Social Recruiter, Going Beyond Old School Recruiting. And I'm going to let Crystal do an intro for herself. She is just getting back from a very fun time at South by Southwest, so if any of you were down there, you know what she's probably going through. So first off, Crystal, thank you so much for jumping on and giving the presentation today. We do have a packed call, which is very good and exciting. So we're going to open it up to you, Crystal, to take over, again, Social Recruiter, Going Beyond Old School Recruiting. If you have questions, you will probably see a chat box either to the right or the bottom, depending on how you have your screen set up, and you'll be able to enter in your questions there. And we'll be good to go. So, Crystal, I'm going to stop talking and pass it over to you. Welcome, and thank you for coming on today.
Great, Ryan. Thank you for having me. Everyone, if I could ask one quick favor on your end of the line, if you are not muted, if you could do so now, that would be great. Obviously, during lunchtime, distractions come up, but we would like to keep the line as clean as possible so everyone can hear. I am Crystal Miller. I am on pretty much every social media handle that you can think of as D1Crystal. So you can find me on Twitter, Facebook, pretty much anywhere by just D1Crystal, ONECRYSTAL. I run a company called M3 Talent Consulting. We focus on social recruiting, so looking at marketing campaigns that are associated with recruitment and a lot of what we're going to be talking about today. I also have a blog. It's kind of a lighthearted blog, v1crystal.com, where I talk about talent, HR, social recruiting, and really everything that I think is interesting in my life. So, you know, that's that. Feel free to check me out. I'm the co-host of Talent Net Live's weekly radio chat with Matt Charney and Craig Fisher and speak at the Talent Net events. So that's who I am. But you're not here to hear about me. You're here to talk about social recruiting. So what is recruitment? When you boil down to it, recruitment is marketing, it's sales, and it's HR. So the combination of all of that really says we need to be spending our time marketing and social.
You are now muted.
Place to do that. You can just really look at how social media is being used to know that it's somewhere that we need to be. I mean, right now you've got 28% of the population get on their phone before they get out of bed to look at their social media sites. You have over 80% of companies, actually I think it's closer to 90 now, that are using social media to find candidates. I mean, it's going on. That's what we need to be doing. And so when you think about what we do with recruitment and marketing, there's a natural opportunity to broadcast our jobs. It's kind of like the little black dress, social media, when you think about it. It's the thing that we've got to have in every recruiter's wardrobes. It connects you with the right people. It increases your credibility so that people are more likely to respond to you, and it helps give you the information that you need to tailor a message for positive response. Now, what do I mean by that? You can look up information, and it's a dual-edged sword. Just like you can look up information to help you build appropriate campaigns to showcase your company, your candidates are also getting off the phone with you, and they're using social media in exactly the same manner. So why not make sure the information that they're finding is what you want them to see? Just little fast facts. 89% of companies use social networks in recruiting in 2011. 4.4 million job seekers use social media to find their last job. Social recruiting is the leader in budgeted increased spending. 55% reported increase last year. So when you think about where HR departments are going to be spending their money, it's on social recruiting. Keeping a candidate on the same platform through the process increases their level of engagement by somewhere in the 4 times range, and that's from Master Burnett. So, I mean, that makes sense when you think about it. If you're popping someone on and off a platform, it's harder for them to stay consistent. It's easier for messages to get lost. It's just frustrating, right? So you can not only use social media to recruit, but you can be strategic in how you do it to up your odds of getting candidates to respond to you in the method in which you want them to. How do you do that? Well, there's a lot of different ways, but one of the ways that you do it is actually beyond you. So not only do you need to be using social media, you need to be engaging your company with a buzzword that I'm actually not real fond of, but it's appropriate to become brand ambassadors for you. When you think about your employee base, 3 out of 4 Americans use social technology. So chances are your employees are on social media as well. social networking is the fourth most popular online activity, and 2/3 of the Internet population visits social networks. So if your employees are already there, one of the ways that you can utilize social media effectively is to have them do it with you. Find out who your adopters are and who's open to it. Send them out information on jobs that you're trying to broadcast, referral programs that you have, neat things that are going on within your company. So not all just about I have a job here, come apply for my job, but also information of what's going on within your company, things that are coming up, cool fun facts, press releases, etc., for them to share with their networks. This does two things. One, people like to be proud of the company that they work for, and it does help boost that. And two, it allows them to help you do some of your recruiting, let's say, name generation for you. Because if they're sharing that with their networks and someone says, oh, that's interesting, oh, by the way, I'm looking to be an accountant, and you happen to have an accounting role, so much the better. Or maybe you will have an accounting role one day, and so then they can pass the name along and you can put them in your talent network. Potential employees, by the way, spend approximately 5 hours a week looking for a job on social media while they're working, no less. So, it's something that happens all the time. We should take advantage of it. The first place that comes to mind, obviously, when you think about social networking and recruiting is LinkedIn, because it is a professional network. There are things that you can do that will definitely increase your ability to effectively recruit and market socially on social media. And the first really starts with, on LinkedIn. And the first really starts with your profile. Have a complete profile. A major mistake that we make as recruiters is we think no one's really going to want to care about our stuff, so we don't fill our profile out correctly, which actually decreases the likelihood that we're going to show up in search results, which decreases the amplification of the messages that we're sending out. So optimize every field. Use links back to your blogs. Use contact info. Put that in your summary. Put that multiple places within your profile and to your career sites. Use good keywords in your own job titles to increase SEO. So one of the things that companies love to do is give people funny names for what they do. You're a people person instead of a recruiter. Well, that's great. It's warm, it's fuzzy, but it's not going to show up when someone's Googling recruiter for engineering in Dallas. If you don't have recruiter on your job title and you have people person all over the place, it's fun, but someone else is going to get that candidate. Use LinkedIn applications. LinkedIn applications are awesome, folks. If you haven't looked at it, you can do things like slide shares. You can share your Google presentations. You can share your blog. You can do TypePad blog applications. Share where you're traveling. You can ask polls. So if you're not getting feedback or you're not getting appropriate candidate flow in one specific area or another, you can create polls to ask questions like, what are you looking for in an engineering role? I would be more likely to apply to a position that had A, B, C, or I like to work with companies that allow for, whatever. Use your imagination, but put those in there, and you can get feedback from people. Events. This is great if you have career fairs. This is great also if you've got new classes starting. So recruiting firms that I work with will often have 10 to 20 new recruiters starting at any one given time, and so they'll put an event on, hey, we're starting a new class today, or the new employee base is starting. Make something fun, little announcement on their own LinkedIn profile, and it generates conversations, which is great because when you think about it, LinkedIn has the ability to be a professional community. Not only do you have your network of people that you know, but you also have this second and tertiary tier of people that will pop in and look at your profile now and again to kind of gain some interest and see if you're someone that they want to know. So if you're regularly talking about things that are going on with your company, not just, hey, I'm hiring, then you're increasing the odds that they're going to want to engage with you. Again, links back to your corporate website and career page. I try to make sure that I've got a link on my status updates, not just within my profile, at least 5 times a day, and then participating in groups. So why would you want to participate in a group? Well, okay, the group has the opportunity to be kind of a community within a larger network. This is a tighter group of people with shared interests. If you find the right groups or you start the right groups, you can get some high level of engagement and conversations, find out what's going on with your industry, but you can also market yourself and your jobs. The tip that I would give you for that is often I will see people get involved into a community and they don't actually engage beyond sharing their jobs. I mean, we've all seen it, right? That's actually a large frustration with groups, and why so many block recruiters is because they come in and they're just like, I have a job, I have a job, I have a job, I have a job. We get it. We know you have jobs. You're a recruiter. So instead, go into a group, listen for a week or two, see what they're saying. You know, what are they talking about? What are the subject matters that interest them? And start creating discussions around those subject points. If you don't know how to do those things, that's okay. You can say things like, hey, I'm learning about IT. I really don't know Java from Ruby on Rails from a hole in the ground. Why would someone choose one or the other? People love to talk about what they do. They will talk to you as long as it seems genuine and you're not just asking about Ruby on Rails so that you can then in the reply say, oh, by the way, I'm hiring for one of those. Once you've established yourself as an actual community member, and you can do that rather quickly, within 30 to 60 days you should feel fairly comfortable with what the flow is, and they should know who you are because you're engaging in conversation, you're replying to them, etc. That's really when I would suggest to start putting in your jobs. And you're going to want to do that at a 1-to-5 ratio. So for every job that you put into your group, you say, I'm hiring for XYZ, or guess what, you know, GE is hiring for blah, 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 whatever that case may be, you're going to want to respond to 4 to 5 other things, you know, post new discussions, et cetera, so that, again, they're not seeing you majorly as a job poster. Ensure that your company profile is complete as well. Even if you're not in charge of it, you need to get with a person that is and make sure that that is filled out, that it is compelling. It's not just, hey, we build widgets, but we're a fun group of people that build widgets, or we're a great group of professionals that build widgets. Here's what people like about our company. Here's what we're up to. This is where we're going. And then have that call to action on your company page. If this sounds like an environment that you think you would thrive in, contact us at. Have an email address. You know, if you're a smaller firm, put a phone number out there. It's okay for them to leave voicemail. There's programs now that will put that voicemail right into your email if you don't have time to check it. But do it. Give them a reason to take the online interaction offline. LinkedIn marketing, again, we talked about groups, but another thing that we can look at is actually through Twitter. Linking your Twitter account to your LinkedIn is scary for some people because they say, oh, well, what if I tweet something that isn't really work-related or isn't about a job? Fantastic. They'll know you're human. Do it. Give it a shot. If people complain, you can take it off. I can tell you I've been doing this for, almost a year with my Twitter and my LinkedIn put together. I've yet to lose connections. The one thing that I have noticed is I've started a lot of new conversations. People not only reply to some of my status updates, I get a lot of in-mails saying, hey, saw the status update online. What does that hashtag mean? Or, you know, what's the £? All about? Or do you know someone at this company? Or just talking to me about the topic that I tweeted. And then linked into my status update. It also increases your visibility. The more visible you are, the more you show up in someone's stream, and the stuff that's showing up is relevant, the more you're building your own credibility and increasing the quality of that connection, so that when you do actually need to go and talk to them, you're not just like that random person that sent them the open link request. Recruiters are very much prone to want to say, I need all of the connections in the world. I'm going to connect with everybody. People race to connections. I was talking to Jason Seiden of Ajax Social Media. He focuses a lot on LinkedIn and workforce marketing yesterday, and we were talking about that very thing, quality versus quantity. It's not so much about the number of connections that you have outside of being able to search LinkedIn as a database. So from a sourcing perspective, I completely get you want to connect with everybody so that you can try to make your net as wide as possible. Okay, great. From a marketing perspective, the inverse is true. You want to connect with people that you are going to be able to interact with. So as you're connecting with these people, whether you connect with everybody or not, you need to find out what interests them, why they want to connect to you, and what would be of value to them. And you need to make sure you're broadcasting that information. Some of you are going to be more comfortable on LinkedIn, and more importantly, some of your candidates are going to be more comfortable on LinkedIn. So having a comfort level with Facebook marketing is massively important in social recruiting. You know, it's something that you need to get to like. The average Facebook user, by the way, is 27 currently, but that number is going to continue to grow. The fastest growing market in Facebook right now is actually the 45 to 55-year-old people. So and they are professionals. They are probably part of who you are looking for every day. So you've got real relevant career seekers on Facebook for you to interact with. The neat thing about Facebook is that it is very mobile. So the average person really does access both from mobile and PC multiple times a day. The average user spends 23 minutes per visit on Facebook. That's fantastic when you compare it to, I think LinkedIn's current bounce back rate last I read was like 4.8 minutes. So less than 5 minutes versus 23 minutes. This is a high opportunity to engage. And if you look at the stats, you can see, again, 58% of members make more than $60,000. 43% of them are college grads. They're connected to 80 pages, events, and group on average per user. That's fabulous. Now, that connected doesn't mean that they go to them every day. It means they like it, and so it shows up in their news stream. How that shows up is going to depend on the particular page. So if someone's connected to, let's just say, Pepsi, if Pepsi has it set to just show Pepsi updates, I don't think that the interaction from the user is going to show up on Facebook. So when you're looking at planning your page, think about that. Do you want just your stuff to show up, or do you want to let everyone? I highly recommend everyone, by the way, because it increases your engagement, but that's just me. Facebook. There are lots of ways to do social recruiting on Facebook, through branch out, through Be Known, and through straight searching. I mean, Facebook has a search engine, so you can go in and do things like putting in your candidate's name if you know it, or area that you need to search in, a title that you're looking for, workplace, and it'll cull through the numbers and be able to see it. Facebook is huge. We have more Facebook profiles than we have people on the planet, by the way. So when we talk about any kind of marketing, the first thing you've got to think about is to go to where your audience is, right? So, well, actually, that's not true. The first thing you have to think about is what you want to say and how you want to say it. But once you know that, you need to go to where your audience is. So with more people on the planet having more profiles on Facebook than people on the planet, it's safe to say your audience is on Facebook. So how do you use your profile to be able to do that without being the person that someone looks at and goes, hello, stalker? There's a few ways. One, if you are connecting with people through Facebook outside of Branch Out and Be Known, you need to make sure that you are using filters, that you are thinking about the audience that you have. Facebook has a wonderful way to separate out people on your profile, and it's called groups. Use them. Someone asked me this weekend, what do you do if you hadn't been using groups and now you've got hundreds, if not thousands of connections, and they're all grouped together? Is there a quick fix way to get everyone sorted into groups? Because that seems kind of like a pain. I'd love to say that there's a magic bullet answer for this. There's not. My answer is to laughingly say grab a soda or a glass of wine, put on a movie, and just start separating people out while you're multitasking in front of the TV. I do that every day. Day, night, whatever. But no, there's not a fast way to do it, but here's why you need to. You are a professional. And so when you, that sounds silly to say, right? Of course you're a professional. You know this. Well, great. Professionals do what needs to be done in order to get the job done right, which means going back and fixing that which wasn't necessarily set up appropriately to begin with. So group your people out. Have it separated out by professional colleagues, different candidate groups, different locations, and then you've got to do the inverse, set up some groups that are everyone but each one of the other groups that you set up, so that when you go to broadcast messages, you can target broadcast to the right groups. And so also you can share the stupid stuff that you wouldn't necessarily want a candidate to know about. I have a group just for my neighborhood. We do a lot of fun things there. But a lot of times I'll make sure that the rest of my network doesn't see the stuff that I'm posting about because it's not applicable to them. By targeting your messaging, two things happen. One, you continue to maintain a center of expertise, and two, you don't wear your networks out. Now, some of you are probably connected to me on Facebook, and you're giggling a little bit right now because you know that I'm a very active Facebook user. So far, my networks don't really seem to mind. If I start getting a lot of complaints, then I'll probably pay attention to what I'm sharing and how I'm sharing it a little bit differently than I am today. So it's a little trial and error. Again, there's no magic bullet. When you go to put in a status update, there's a little lock at the bottom of the status update bar. That is where you utilize the groups that you set up. So click that, and then you can select the appropriate network and click post. As with anything else.
Crystal,
yes,
I think this is a really quick moment to step in here. We have a lot of questions coming through, and I just want to say real quick, a lot of them are we going to get the PowerPoint? Of course you're going to get the PowerPoint. You're also going to get the recording. We're going to throw that up on recruitingwebinars.com, and I will get that out to you guys tomorrow. There's a lot of questions around the topic you're talking about right now, around messaging. Mm-hmm. So messaging you're talking about separating your network into different groups on Facebook. what types of messages are you sending out if you're separating? One of the examples was if I'm separating software engineers away from just my general public and I have a job but I don't know where they're located, how do you message that specific group not knowing where they're located without looking at each individual person?
Okay, so there's a couple of different things in here. One, I think there might be a misconception, or maybe I'm misunderstanding the question that's being asked, but if they're connected to you on Facebook, you know where they're located because you can go to their profile. And I will say I'm a little anal with spreadsheets. I have tons of them. I love them. I think they're fabulous. I'm old school that way. When I get a new connection onto Facebook, Twitter, whatever it is, they get added to a spreadsheet so that I can cross-reference them. It has their name, it has their city, it has their title, and any points of interest that I know about immediately, as well as their birthday. And I do this so that when I'm running searches, I can search first through my my Facebook and just kind of look at the group, but then I can cross-reference back to my spreadsheet if I think that there might be a reason that I'm not catching everyone that I need, and look that way. So that's one suggestion I would give for you. But the other way of looking at this is you go to, if you're trying to target engineers because you have or software engineers because that's a job that you want to broadcast, you would click the group software engineers because you already have them all lumped together, right? And then you would target the message somewhere. What I would probably say is, there's a new opportunity. This is the opportunity. Here's 3 quick reasons why you might want to look at this position, the link to the role, and my phone number and my email. I do not try to hide my phone number, and different recruiters will tell you different things, but my job is to connect with people. On any given year, I should be connecting with about 24,000 people, which is around 100 people a week if you do the math, but or 100 people a day, sorry. But that's, just put your phone number in there, put your contact information in there. But give them reasons to want to respond. When you look at failed messaging on Facebook, Twitter, actually any platform, it's hiring, Java engineer, Rhode Island, and the link. There's nothing that calls someone to action with that. If you're a marketer, which you are, you need to give someone a reason to want to respond to you. So tell them, great, so 3 perks about the job. There should be 3 somethings in any job that you're taking that would compel someone to want to look at it, whether that's work-life balance, whether that's a great team, whether that's an exciting project, whether that's the ability to start fresh, whether it's ability to like throw everything out the window, it's managing people, you know the drill. Find 3 reasons, put it in there. It should also, by the way, be left on every voicemail you leave, and it should be consistent with or not every voicemail you leave, every conversation that you have. I do leave them on voicemails if I'm having a hard time getting a hold of someone. The second or third voicemail will be like, look, you probably get 100, maybe more recruiters calling you in any given week. This is why we need to talk about this role. Maybe it's right for you, maybe it's right for someone you know, but don't let this be the one that you wish you had heard about. And then I make sure that that's consistent with what's on social media. So if I'm telling them that there's great work-life balance, a fantastic team, and the ability to start a new program, that's what they're going to see online as well. It creates credibility and consistency. Hopefully that answers.
And I don't want to hold you up too much, Crystal, but let me just throw these 2 quick questions out there, and I'm going to stop butting in, and we'll take some more questions as we go on. 2 questions. First question is, how do you use Facebook when security settings for most people are set so high and you can't see information about that person? And then the other question is, can we create a company profile instead of using our personal profiles, or is this the only way to do so by making a page, or like a fan page, and linking it to our personal profiles?
Okay,
2 separate questions.
Sure. Okay, I'm actually going to back up to the current slide, to the branch out and be known thing. Okay, branch out and be known. Let me start with the last question first. Branch out and be known are great for people that want to be able to do social recruitment on Facebook, but they don't necessarily want to be able to have everyone see their page, or their candidate base doesn't. You can use that, and it keeps your private stuff private, and it basically creates what's very similar to a LinkedIn profile on the Facebook platform, and allows you to search within there. And they would probably not be pleased that I just referenced it that way, but it's the best way I know to explain it at the moment. But you can create that little profile, and then you can search within those tools. BranchOut also has a social recruiting tool that allows which is really very cool, and I think it's fantastic for corporate recruiters. You can put your recruiting team on BranchOut's social recruitment tool, they get a copy of the candidates, or they're connecting with the candidates, but the candidates that they connect with will stay with the company whether they leave or not, which is fabulous. Unlike LinkedIn, where if your recruiter leaves, they take their connections with them. To answer the question of can you create 2 separate profiles, the answer is yes. I'm not going to lie. I am super lazy. I don't want to have to manage any more profiles than absolutely necessary, and every profile you add is more time. There used to be a reason to do that because the filter settings were just iffy on a good day. Facebook's really tightened that up. There's just no need to. So I would say if you're one of those people that have a slight paranoia towards what happens if I forget to use filters or to group it off, or I post something and I don't look at my privacy settings, and you're just pretty sure that's going to end up being you one day, and whatever it is that you post is bad enough that you're going to alienate your audience, then yes, you can start a new profile. It's just something else you have to manage. If you do start a new profile, you can't skimp on it. You're still going to have to give people enough information to get to know you and engage with you. All of that being said, I have one profile, and it works fantastically, both when I was an agency recruiter on the corporate side and now on the marketing side doing marketing and talent attraction. I have my clients on my Facebook. I have my candidates on my Facebook. I have my friends and professional colleagues on there, and they see the stupid stuff I do, and they see the cool stuff that happens. And I do that because people work with people that they know and they like. So the more that you're able to let someone engage with you, the better off you are. Now, I don't post drunk pictures. You're not going to see me like with offensive anything, tattoos, whatever it is that people get worried about. I don't put that stuff on my Facebook. I don't put it online, period, so it doesn't become a problem. So that's something to think about. If you don't do those things, then it's not really that big of a worry, in my opinion. But I will say for the agency people, this is probably kind of bad to admit, but it is. This is the reality. When you have your clients on Facebook, they get to know you, and they kind of feel guilty about not working with you. But maybe not enough to keep them from doing it all the time. There's going to be corporate people going, yeah, I know, but I'm still going to not use a recruiter unless I have to. Okay, great, fine, whatever. But there is truth to the whole, if you make friends with someone, they want to work with their friends, and they feel bad when they work with someone else. So there is that. Keys to maximizing Facebook. We've talked about some of this. Engage with your fans. Create a community. So if you have a page, a fan page, which is another way that you can do this. Instead of creating a person profile, you can create a fan page for your company, and you can broadcast all of your messaging through there. Again, 1 to 5 shares. So if you're broadcasting a job, you need to be putting out other status updates and asking questions and putting out articles, content that people can wrap their minds around that isn't just you're selling to me. So engage with them. When people respond to something, you need to answer back. If people aren't responding on your page, like your page and whatnot, you need to be going to them and talking to them about what's going on in their life. Ask them, what would you like to see in here? We noticed you'd like the page. Great, we're glad to have you. We've also noticed you've not said a whole lot. Is there something that we can do? Is there content that you would like to be able to see? It is totally okay to ask what you need. And in fact, I would say if you're not getting engagement, you better ask, either through a poll and or proactively going to the people that have liked your page and talking to them. They'll tell you. That creates community. The more engagement that you do, the more it spurs people to want to respond. My Facebook is public, so you can go to my page. It's facebook.com/B1Crystal. I have a fairly good Facebook community. They respond to each other just as much as they do to me, and that's what you're looking for. Send updates to your fans. So as things are going on, you can send out an update and let them know what's cool, that they need to come back and check your page. Link back, again, to your corporate website and careers page. Major fail if you don't do that. Fan pages do index well on search engines, so you want to make sure that you're using keywords that will be picked up, again, common keywords, things that people would look for: recruiting, jobs, career, hiring. A massive common mistake is to use the word careers, plural, instead of career. If I'm a job seeker, I don't have multiple careers. I have one career. So just a tiny little tip to think about. It's career, singular. Fan interaction is shared in their news feeds. I think there is a setting, I was reading about this the other day, that would actually preclude that from happening. But the default is that fan interaction would allow it to show up. So if you post something and Susie replies, then that pops up in everyone else's news feeds, which keeps you relevant. So again, trying to foster that interaction is important. So let's move on to Twitter. Twitter is, I will admit, as a recruiter, Twitter was the one that was hardest for me to grab on socially because I'm a Facebook-oriented person. I'm a community-oriented person, and Twitter just felt very push marketing to me. I didn't see the pull for a long time. I used it with clients. I got that. I got what was important to put out jobs and send information from the client side, but just personally, I didn't think that Twitter would be able to build relationships. Let me tell you, I was wrong. So it happens once in a while. You heard it here first. There are 100 million active users on Twitter. 1.6, actually that should be search queries, are sent out per day, and just over 1 billion tweets are sent out per day. It's a very active channel. A lot of it is noise. So how do you differentiate yourself when you've got a lot of noise going on Twitter? A lot of it really comes down to content strategy. So don't just pop on Twitter and start broadcasting out your jobs. And don't just pop on there and start broadcasting articles. You need to be thinking about what is your strategy, what do you want to get? And that's actually true for each social site, and they don't necessarily have to be the same. For Twitter, for me, as a social recruiter, my point, my object is to establish credibility within the field of recruitment and HR, because that's my audience. I am targeting people that are in HR and recruiting. Now, if you're targeting someone in engineering, the content sharing that you're going to want to be focusing on is probably going to be geared more towards articles that are relevant to their workspace. If you don't know what that is, call one of the candidates that you have a good relationship with and ask them what they like to read, what periodicals they read. Are they on Twitter? Are there communities within Twitter that they pay attention to, hashtags that they follow? Write all that down, take a couple of days, research it, and build out a good content strategy. Once you've built out your first content strategy, you can use tools and whatnot to help you really schedule out and save time. This is going to keep you from sucking your day down on Twitter, Facebook, so on and so forth. Hootsuite, I love it. I can use Foursquare, I can use Twitter, I can use LinkedIn, Facebook, all of it. I can schedule all of my updates in advance. How I do that is this. I will get, every weekend I spend 4 to 5 hours just culling content. There are faster ways to do it through things like bundle posts and whatnot. I'm still a little old school in the fact that I like to read the articles that I'm sending out. Not everyone does, and that's fine. There's RSS feeders that you can use through Google and whatnot. But however you're culling your content, call it a couple of times a week. For me, I do it on Sunday, and then I do it again on Wednesday or maybe Thursday, depending on how the week is going. And then I pop it into Hootsuite. I schedule, if I've done my job correctly and I'm not slacking off, I've scheduled a minimum of 20 tweets in any given day. If I'm really happy with what I've scheduled somewhere in the neighborhood of 75 to 100 tweets. It sounds like a lot. And then my tweets go into LinkedIn, so I actually don't have to schedule individually for LinkedIn unless there's just something I want specific to LinkedIn. So that handles my LinkedIn scheduling as well. It saves time. And then Facebook, I am more just manual with that, but every once in a while I'll schedule 4 to 5 status updates through Hootsuite. One thing I will tell you is that if you're connected to your audience on multiple platforms, you need to make sure that you are differentiating your content, because what people see on Twitter, if they see it again on LinkedIn and Facebook, you become noise and they filter you out. So on Facebook, I get more personal with people. I talk a lot more about how I tripped over the stairs, the milkshake that I just had kicked butt. Have you checked out this restaurant? That's one status update, by the way. I need to work out because it's been forever. Is everyone else feeling like they're working more and working out less? It's stuff about my life. On Twitter, you'll get the occasional, man, I can't find my yoga pants. Oh, that's because I took 15 million suitcases to South by Southwest. That was a tweet that I had today. So you'll see that, which kind of gives little pieces of my personality, but I am much more focused on putting out content that is absolutely professionally related, sharing my blogs, things that are related to the hashtags that I am either creating, managing, or part of, conferences, etc. LinkedIn, for me, a lot of it's just exactly what I share on Twitter, because in my experience, my network with actually there's about 23% of my network right now that is a crossover from Twitter to LinkedIn, but the rest of them may have LinkedIn accounts. They're not active on it, so the chances of them seeing it twice is just very, very low. And so that's the way that I do it. On Twitter, it is really important to have your contact info or some way to get your contact info in your profile description. So if you're not putting your phone number or your email address in your profile description, have it linked to a website where they can get that information. Social media is an online conversation that needs to be totally and completely focused on a starting point that you then drive offline. All of this stuff is still going to get you in trouble with your bosses. It's still going to make it look like you're not productive if you're not moving these conversations to offline conversations for the most part at some point. The hashtag. Okay, I see a lot of tweets that go out because they're auto-schedules or they're just retweets of someone else that's been set up without hashtags, and that's like just, I mean, it's honestly like just sneezing into the wind. Or actually, that's kind of gross because it would go back on you. But it's just a waste of time. Okay, so it's a complete waste of time in my opinion. You need to use the hashtag. The hashtag is more, I laughingly say, the Dewey Decimal System of Twitter. It's how you catalog content. So if I'm a job seeker or I'm an engineer that is, I must be in the engineers today for my reference through this whole webinar, but if I'm an engineer, then I would be looking at how that, at hashtags that are relative to me. So I might be looking at hashtag tech, hashtag Java, hashtag IT, and then there's a couple of other ones, maybe job, maybe hiring, something like that. I'm going to go there to find my content. I don't normally just like log on and scroll down. I might look through my networks, but for the most part, I get a better stream if I go to the subject matter that I'm interested in. Put hashtags on there so you're subject mattering what you're talking about. It also helps get you listed if you're into that thing. So other keys to maximizing Twitter: balance promotional, personal, and conversational tweets. I laugh because there's actually a company that I'm fairly familiar with in the area. It's a great recruiting firm. In fact, they're consistently ranked one of the top recruiting firms from just like old school methods, but they do not get social. Because when you look at their tweets, all they have is hiring job, hiring job, hiring job, nothing else. Oh, wait, I'm wrong. Occasionally you'll see press release, and then like 100 more jobs, and then another press release, all about them, not about anybody else, it's all them. Look, we're all inherently selfish and we want to self-promote, and that's cool, but people don't really connect to that to the way that they do if you are promoting them. So just a thought, as you get to know the people that are in the communities that you're targeting, the hashtags that are using the hashtags that you're in, pay attention to when they do something good, share their content. When you know that someone just took a new job, when they've announced it on their network, even if it's not with your company, reply them, mention them and say congratulations on your new role, great to see that your career is flourishing, whatever that is. People are afraid to do that in recruitment because they're like, well, wait a minute, but that doesn't have anything to do with my company on the corporate side. That's not my brand, or I didn't place that person. That's going to look bad. Who cares? The person that just took that job with one company may end up coming to your company if they can see that you care about them when there's no real reason to. There's no inherently obvious reason at any rate. So engage with them. Celebrate their successes so that they in turn will want to celebrate yours, because P.S., that amplifies the message that you put out. Absolutely share content that's relevant. For every one job that you post, again, a minimum is 5. I feel more comfortable with closer to 20 content shares and other replies. You can find candidates to follow on Twitter through Google and LinkedIn. There's a Twitter spot on LinkedIn that will show your Twitter handle. You can always keep track of that. Anytime I connect with someone on LinkedIn, again, I'm looking for basic things like their website, their blog if they've got it, their Twitter handle, their email, anything that they give me to contact them. And that goes into one of my famous spreadsheets. And I'll go back and connect with them on Twitter and let them know, hey, I found you on LinkedIn. I keep up with engineers and want to make sure that you knew that that's why I was contacting you or connecting you and following you. Look forward to learning from you. Hopefully, you can learn from me. If there's anything you'd like to see from me, let you know. Now, obviously, that's way longer than 140 characters, so that's going to go into a couple of DMs. And if they're not following me, and y'all have probably seen this, I have absolutely no problem going, hey, I wanted to send you a message, but you're not following me. You aren't following me back so I can send you something. As long as what you send them is compelling, a good deal of the time, they'll continue to follow you, partly because they're too lazy to pull you off and unfollow you. But the other part of that is because they don't have a reason not to, and obviously you're interested in them, and people like it when you're interested in them. Post photos, like from a day in your life, pics, etc. I post goofy photos through Foursquare. I don't like the maps that are on Foursquare, so I tend to try to post a photo because it's more visually appealing, but it also personalizes what I'm posting, and I become a person more than a brand. People don't connect with brand logos. They connect with people. So I understand that a lot of you may have to use a brand, either a name or a picture. When you're on there, that's fine, but you can let them know that there's a person behind that brand, and that's really going to up your engagement. From a messaging standpoint, when I'm talking about jobs, I try to link back to the ATS or the careers page. And I definitely want to try to link them somewhere that's going to give them the ability to contact me either by phone or by email. For high-volume recruiters, I understand that may not be a possibility for you, but maybe think about linking them to your blog as opposed to directly to your ATS so they can start to engage with them, or do both. Apply here, learn more about us here through our blog. And then you can hashtag blog as well. It's okay to use hashtags throughout your tweet. So hashtags don't have to be relegated just to the end. If I'm talking about talent, I don't care where it is in the tweet, I'm hashtagging talent because I know that that's something that's often looked at. So again, know what hashtags are used by your community. Okay, and then on here I showed hashtags to note jobs, career, hiring, employment, Dallas, TalentNet, life at Twitter. By the way, I get the most mentions, retweets, etc., and interaction through YouTube music videos because it's total nostalgia. So I let people know whatever mood I'm feeling today, share that, and then sometimes I'll even go back, especially when I'm doing it for the brands that I'm managing. I'll go back and say, man, it feels like an Aerosmith kind of day. Oh, by the way, we're hiring for pilots. And you may want to check that out because we've got this new program. Go here. Again, 1 to 5 content rule. Blogging and blogging. I love blogs. I think it's fantastic. A lot of people do too because guess what? 77% of active Internet users read them. The average age is 37, so now you're looking more into people that are mid-career. 69% of those numbers make less than 60K, so it's not something that's just relegated to executives. But a lot of them are college educated, so it's not something like you have to put up the goofy, what is it? I saw this blog the other day that was advertising jobs, and it just made me want to throw up. The guy was wearing really goofy sunglasses, and it was like, I guess he was trying to be Joe Cool, but it was just so obviously dumbed down that regardless of what my education level, I would have been very turned off. So you don't need to try to dumb it down to your audience because they are smart people reading it. I mean, they are educated, and they can handle whatever it is that you're wanting to talk to them about on an intelligent level. Still a female-dominated population. So when you think about words that are used from a marketing perspective, using feeling words with women tend to resonate more than thinking words, which resonate more with men. This is a credibility tool, so it needs to be tailored to your audience and your area of expertise. I love fashion. I do. I think it's great. My shoe collection is pretty crazy, but I don't do anything professionally with shoes. So I'm not going to write a shoe blog. Now, I do write about my life, and in that I may talk about shoes. But for the most part, most of you are going to be doing professional blogs and then may have a personal blog separately from that. So on your professional blog, make sure it hits within your area of expertise. If you're a recruiter, talk about careers. Don't talk about how to create a widget. Get a guest poster to come in and talk about how they create widgets. Blogging, and by the way, candidates love doing that kind of stuff. So if you're asking them up front what their interests are and if they blog and where their blog is and things like that, you should have a running list of who would be willing to guest post for you. Keys to maximizing. Boost search engine rankings by, again, using keywords. You need to tag every single one of your posts. Establish expertise. You do that through posting regularly. Now, you don't have to post every day. Some people say, oh, you must post every day because Shakespeare did. Well, yay for Shakespeare. He didn't post blogs, but he wrote every day, right? And there are several other authors that believe that. That's great. That's fine. You're not an author. You're a recruiter. So post when you have something to say. Just make sure that the things that you say extend beyond I'm hiring in a particular role. You can talk about qualifications that particular roles need, things outside of the job description. You can talk about challenges that happen within a company or a career. You can talk about your company challenges. Just make sure that your management has read it first and they're on board. So people don't come back to me and say, I just cost them their job. The point is you want to vary your content, and you want it to be about things that you can speak intelligently to because people want to work with people that sound like they know what they're doing. Share industry news. Reblogging is okay. Just make sure you get permission from the original source. Linking to media coverage. You want to try to link in your blogs 1 to 2 different places throughout the article to other pieces of information that your audience will find interesting, and also back to your career site or your careers page. Addressing concerns and common questions. So this is something that's interesting to me. Someone will put out a blog that's somewhat controversial because they want to get readership, and then they get comments and they don't respond to them. It is totally okay if someone doesn't agree with you. I put out a blog on Smart Recruiters a week or 2 ago on social referral programs. Actually, it was referral programs, but we kind of took a social slant to it. And as such, Bill Borman got on that post and said, no, I totally disagree with all of this. Okay, he's allowed. He doesn't have to agree with me. So I responded to him. He responded back to me. We had a 20-something comment in our engagement. Smart Recruiters was thrilled, obviously, because it's interaction on their page. But also, it shows people that you take what they say seriously, too. And that's great. Even if you don't agree with them, respond. It also gives you an opportunity, if you're working with a brand, you'll often probably see responses that are consumer product related as opposed to employment related. That's okay. Respond to them. Even if you don't know the answer, let them know, you know what, I don't really know the answer to that. I appreciate that you have this issue. Why don't you contact so-and-so? Give them someone else to contact. That's fantastic. From a marketing perspective, things that you write need to be compelling. You need to think about sizzle. So when I'm crafting anything, I look at consumer psychology. Why do people want to buy? Why would someone want to come here? Why do they want to spend their time here? I ask those questions on everything that I write. So you need to be asking those questions. Why would someone want to read this article? Why is it relevant to their day? How can I help them with their career through what I'm about to post? If you can't answer those questions, don't post it. Again, most important thing with all of this is be human. In social media, people want to interact with humans, not buildings, not logos, not brands. I mean, it's just, you may like a brand, I may be loyal to a brand, but I get that it's a logo. So it's not going to talk to me, it's not going to pay attention to me, it's a logo. So, you need to humanize your brand if you're behind one and let people see that there's a real person there. Okay, so now some fun stuff. The interest in Pinterest. This is like I've heard so many conversations about Pinterest, and it is a cool tool, so let's talk about it really quick. The way that I use Pinterest is to share my blog posts. I create a picture of life at my company's or my client company's sites, and to have another area of engagement with candidates. Again, go where the audience is, and right now the audience is definitely on Pinterest. So if you look at the picture that I put here, I've got professional articles. That board is absolutely just blogs. Blog articles on my blog, on other blogs that I write for, on news publications that I'm associated with. That's what that board is. And it's amazing. The social shares on that, it's just phenomenal. It's 7 times what I was seeing through just Twitter and Facebook and Twitter and Facebook. Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn shares 7 times the speed, which is great. Amplification is important. Chicago real estate. So if I were looking at recruiting in Chicago, or I had a large candidate base that was going to Chicago, I might want to create a board that shows local real estate so they could get a feel for what it would cost to live there. Social HR, recruiting, and talent, that's my area of expertise. That's also where my clients are largely focused, either because that's what they do or it's what their clients do. So I've got a board that has information relating to that. Fitness is really just for me because I like it and I want people to know kind of what I'm into. So a lot of this will be just stuff that I like. Blog ideas, things I want to write about, or I'm hoping somebody else will use them and write about it. I create things that create a picture of who you are as a professional, who you are, some interest on the personal side, doesn't have to be all of them, and what your company is and what they stand for. Just some fun facts on this. This is very interesting. The average time that's spent on the site is over 15 minutes. A lot of them have kids. There are, the increase of visitors is up by over 2,000%, close to 3. There's still more women than men. That's probably not a surprise. It's an online scrapbook. But there are also, if you notice, a lot of brands, and not little brands, big brands. So if they're doing it, they've put some research into this, and maybe it should be something that you should think about. Now, all of that being said, this is another area that can become a giant time suck. I have a very hard and fast rule on Pinterest. I do not get on Pinterest after 7 o'clock in the morning. I do not get on Pinterest after 11 o'clock at night. I spend 15 minutes going through my connection sites, or everyone I'm connected to on Pinterest and repinning or whatever stuff that they have. And then beyond that, it's business. If I've got a job I need to share, then I go share it. If I've got a blog I need to put there, I put it on there, and then I am done and I am off. So some of that's discipline. All of social recruiting tools can be very useful, or they can be a time suck. The difference is really your area or your ability to be disciplined and get on, do what you pre-planned to do, and get back off. With Twitter, I get on at set times to the day. My phone is with me, so if I'm not on my mobile phone, then I'll just reply, as needed. But Right now, I've got 7 times during the day that I've scheduled 7 minutes to get on. It works for me, so I'm less than an hour a day on Twitter. Facebook, I'll admit I'm a heavy Facebook user, so I'm probably on Facebook somewhere in the neighborhood of about 45 minutes to an hour a day, just interacting with my community and managing the pages that I'm on. And then with LinkedIn, again, true to their stats, I'm probably on LinkedIn 5 minutes a day if I'm not doing a search. So I get on, I check my replies, I look and see if there's someone new that I need to pay attention to, and then I'm off. And it's literally like a 5-minute exercise. I said once a day, but I meant twice, in the morning and in the afternoon. Back up. The picture that we just passed was Instagram. This is something that is gaining a lot of traction, and I personally love and use quite a bit. Instagram's a neat little community in and of itself. It's got the social sharing. You can go to Foursquare. It can go to LinkedIn. It can go to, not LinkedIn, I'm sorry. It can go to Twitter, which then goes to LinkedIn if you're connected. And it can go to Facebook, Flickr, all that fun stuff. But it's a neat way to capture your visual audience. So there are people that are going to connect with pictures far more than they ever will with words. That's why vlogs, video blogs are popular on YouTube, etc. Instant engagement with Instagram. You can post a picture that shows different things, and I'll do it differently. There's an app for those of you who have iPhones called Wordle and Word Photo, and you can take a picture of a site or a brand logo or whatever it is that you want to do. You put the picture on there, and you create word sets, and so it turns your photo into words. And so I may put something like Ace Cash, hiring salespeople, flexible, a great career path, or something, whatever the reasons why people might want to be on there. And then I'll put like an email address, careers at Ace, or a phone number that they can call to get information to be able to apply. And it wordles that picture, and so it's really kind of fun. And you can see that by checking out my Instagram, which I believe you can also find me under V1Crystal there. I've got some examples of that from trainings I've done. But I will say that the keys to, are you ready to get on Instagram? The keys to maximizing that is before you get on, create a theme, right? So I have a picture here on how General Electric uses Instagram. They're showing pictures of giant machinery. They're showing what they're making. That's cool. That's fine. That's going to appeal to people that are going to be involved in that process. So that's their theme. Your theme might be a little bit different. You may want to really focus more on life at. I think I was looking at one the other day. The brand had pictures of just every day they went to a different area of their work site and took a picture of people working, and that's what they added to their Instagram. It was really cool. Another one used the products that they were making, but then they would take for every product that they showed, they took pictures of different team members and put that on there. And then, so every week it was a different product with a different set of team members, and the captions for each were like things that those people did really well and reasons why they liked the company. So you can have fun with this. But once you've created your theme, you need to engage. When you post, people are going to like that. And take the time to do a little @ reply. You just use the @ sign, put the person's name in. Thanks for liking this. And then you'll start to see an increase in responses. When someone actually puts a nice photo, or that's cool, or where did this come from, please respond to them. You're creating a community on that platform. You will also see, if you're sharing it in social sites, the responses coming from Twitter or from Facebook, wherever it is that you posted it. You've got to go back and respond on there. This sounds like time. It is time, but you budget it, right? So if I'm on 5 different platforms and I've got 1 hour a day, I'm going to go look and see which ones obviously got the highest use of engagement, where the majority of my candidates are actually like hanging out and talking to me. I'm going to go with that one first. It's probably going to get 15 minutes, and the other one's going to get somewhere between 5 to 10, average 7.5, I guess, minutes to just do what I can't do there. If I run out of time, okay, then I go back at night after I've gotten my family settled and I've done the things I need to do. I'll sit down again and take another hour or 2 or whatever it is that I need to do to be able to do it. During the day, my goal is to connect with people. So a lot of the social media stuff that you see running through my profile during the day was scheduled off hours. Now, I scheduled it, right? So it's not the same as being fully automated. Fully automated is setting up parameters, keywords, et cetera, and letting some sort of service pull that content for you, and you have no idea what it is. I actually create my tweets, and I think about what I want to say, and then I schedule them out. So I'm semi-automated, and I think that works out well for me. Semi-automated, I sound like a gun. Anyway, that's my presentation. I'm sure you have questions. If we've got time for it, Ryan, what's on that?
Yep,
Ryan?
I'm here. So, yep, I'm here. I apologize. And so, Crystal, thank you very much. Great presentation. And the Q&A box right there, we'll give it a second, and we'll let some people dump in some questions right there on your screen. So go ahead and put those in, and we'll start kind of thumbing through them. Let's just start. I was writing them down as you were speaking. So let's go through a couple of questions, kind of group them all together. Number one, you will definitely get a recording and the download the PowerPoints to this, along with all of Crystal's contact information. So you'll definitely be able to go ahead and connect with her as well. It seems like a lot of questions were around how to connect Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. I guess we're focusing on the big three. There's a few questions there. And I think you answered that with the Hootsuite explanation, but maybe you can kind of revisit that for a second. How can you connect it but not message give the same message to all three networks?
Well, you don't share it to all three networks. And by the way, just real quick, how do I share with them? Oh, here we go, Twitter interactions. So let me pull up Hootsuite real quick. Can you see my screen?
Yep.
Okay. This thing needs to go away. Hootsuite.com. Okay, so what is that? Well, that's lovely. Okay, so basically I would come in here, I can pose a message, and then you can select on the profile that you want to be on. I'm not really sure why I'm on that profile. So let me log out of that. You can select what profiles, what platforms you want it to hit. It doesn't automatically hit all three. Well, that's random. Sorry, I'm on a different computer today, folks. But you can put something in. Hold on one second. You can put a message on there and just say whatever it is that you want to say. Select your profile. Here we go. And you can say, okay, I only want this one to go to my Facebook or my Twitter, just my Twitter. And then you can say, hi, just a test. Man, I'm going to probably get some fun replies after that one. Hashtag test, hashtag hi. Okay. So that's only going to go to Twitter. Well, for me, it's also going to go to LinkedIn because it's linked, right? But it doesn't necessarily have to go to Facebook. You can select just Facebook, whatever. I mean, you have options. It doesn't have to go to all three. Did that answer the question?
I think so, yes. And just in respect of everyone's time, let's just go with one more question, and that question will be, let me just thumb through here real quick and see if we can get a good one. We've got a lot of questions. So what we'll do is, for those questions that we're not obviously going to get to answer everything, Crystal or myself will throw some responses out there, and we'll post that on the page as well, so everybody will get that link. Question around Facebook again, managing, I don't remember if you spoke about this or not, Facebook events. So
sure.
There was a question around the Facebook pages, and I guess creating a page or using your own page. And I guess I'm reading a whole bunch of different questions here, so I apologize. So I guess the question is, have you used Facebook events? What return have you seen? And then another one just came in around Pinterest. What results have you seen there, and are you actually using that to connect with people? And we'll end it there, just in the name of time.
Okay, so events. Yes, I have used events, Facebook events. For me, obviously the events that you use are going to be surrounded around what you're trying to do. I've used them with conferences. I've used them with career fairs. I've used them with actually webinars from the standpoint of I will have open times for different clients that want to create basically open times where people can call in and talk to them through like a blog talk radio type platform. Or Focus.com has another fabulous one, by the way, or just through interaction like what we're doing today on just a webinar. And so I'll create a Facebook event, and I will send it out to the targeted group of people that it would be relevant for and say, we're doing this. Here's what we plan on covering. Here's why you might want to join. If this is something that would be of interest to anyone that you know, please feel free to pass it on. If you do pass it on, let me know so I can add them to the list. This makes it seem exclusive as opposed to just something that anybody can get into. And not that there's anything wrong with having something that anybody can get into. There's not. Clearly, there's a lot of you on the phone today, and it was an open invitation, correct? But when you're looking at recruitment, people don't want to feel like they're part of a cattle call. You know, when you listen to complaints about career fairs, I was one of 1,000, I was one of 2,000. There wasn't really any time for me. So we actually cap our ability to, our number of attendees, and I don't have that as a public event. It's only shown to the people that I invited. Now there's a setting that allows you to share, and or if someone asks you to share, you can send that invite if you've got it as a private event and they want to send it to other people. Just let me know who it is. I'll send them out the invite. My returns on that have been pretty good. Normally if I send out an event, I may have, let's say if I've capped it at 60, I'm probably going to get somewhere between 18 and 20 positive responses, of maybe 20 declines and 10 maybe somewhere in there, 20 maybe, whatever the math ends up being. So it ends up being fairly evenly split. But mainly it's another area of interaction. So on that wall for why people aren't going, you will see a lot of them say why they're not going. And then I respond back to them and let them know, that's okay, that's great. You know, I'm sorry that you couldn't make this one. Let's catch up offline. You can call me at, and then I leave my number. It shows that you were serious about wanting to interact with them. The other part of that on Pinterest, the returns that I've seen so far. So most of the returns that I've seen on Pinterest aren't things like it got me new candidates. It was just level of engagement. I will say that everyone I've directed to Pinterest has gone on, that has an account, has gone on and liked, talks about, or shared a pin, so I can tell that they're there. From a blog perspective, I've seen huge returns. Like I said, the speed at which my stuff was shared was over 7 times faster than through Twitter and Facebook. And I'm also seeing an increase in the amplification on the second layer. So I can go through and see, talk to people and say, okay, well, who you pinned this? Who shared it from you? And you can see some of that on your Pinterest as well. And so keeping up with that. And I've had people call me back and say, oh, I shared your blog on da-da-da, and so-and-so returned it and then called me and said, hey, who's this person? So for me, I don't have enough data to give you some hard quotes, but I can tell you what I'm seeing so far, or some hard stats. What I'm seeing so far says that Pinterest is definitely an area that I need to be looking into, continuing to use. My clients really love it, and at the end of the day, I'm there to represent my clients and create their marketing campaigns and their social recruitment campaigns, and it's something that they want on there because it's things that their employees are using. So if it's something that you're wanting to look at, I would say send out a quick poll to hiring managers that you think you would be utilizing, and or maybe target a slice of your employee population that you've already identified as adopters of social media, and find out if they would be interested in seeing things about your company on there, and if so, what would they want to see. And if that comes back positively, then I would say, block off some time to make a Pinterest board.
Great. Well, that's all the time we got today. So, guys, everyone who joined the call today, thank you very much. We've had a great audience, a lot of great questions. And, Crystal, of course, thank you to yourself for giving us some time here today. Hope everybody enjoyed. Be sure to check your emails. Put recruitingwebinars.com in your whitelist, in your email box, as we will send you some updates on this video as well as the PowerPoints to download on the site. So, good news coming out tomorrow for the site. We'll have a new site, hopefully. The new site will be out, and we'll have those the PowerPoints and video right up on there for you. So, once again, thanks everyone for joining. Crystal, thank you very much. Have a great day, everybody.
Thank you. Bye-bye.